All right, let me move to the issue of TikTok because it's really fascinating. There was a time when the ban was first proposed under the Trump administration in 2020, when it was all about fear-mongering over China and we have to protect ourselves from the evil Chinese trying to corrupt the minds of our youth and spy on us, and it didn't go anywhere. And I don't know if you heard my saying before you came on that what really put it over the edge, and even the leading advocates of the TikTok ban admit this, is that the perception arose not about China, but that there was too much anti-Israel content being allowed on TikTok, too much pro-Palestinian content, too much imagery about what was being done in Gaza, and that turned American youth against Israel. That's what really enabled the momentum to pick up to ban TikTok. But now, as it's about to be banned, as it's about to be actually closed, and 170 million Americans are about to lose it, everyone in Washington is a little bit freaked out because they realize that this is just a cataclysmic act of repression and disruption, and they're finding ways to try and get out of that. What has been the view of all of this in China? Because, you know, Americans are often told that one of the things that makes China repressive is they close Google or they put restrictions on Facebook and YouTube because they don't want an open internet. And here you see the US now shutting down trying to shut down a major app. What has been the perception in China about all this?
I think most people are amused, especially of the TikTok refugee phenomenon on Xiaohongshu. It's important to remind that what America is doing with TikTok is quite a bit different from what China did with Facebook on Twitter, for instance, because at heart what happened in China, the Facebook on Twitter thing is that China has famously very strict rules around content moderation, and on data. So if you're a social media platform, you need to censor content according to the guidelines, and you need to keep all your users' data in China, in the country. And what happened is simply that Facebook, on Twitter, and all the social media, American social media that are not in China anymore, refused to do that. Some accepted that, like LinkedIn, for instance, and they're still in China. So there is an opportunity for American social media firms to stay in China if they abide by China's rules.
Censorship rules.
That's not
censorship
the case.
rules.
Not only censorship, but
and data retention.
Exactly, basically. But TikTok is quite a bit different because TikTok themselves have said, put some rules. Like we're more than happy to keep all the data in servers in the US. We're more than happy to abide by any content moderation rules and so on. But no, even if they were to have those rules and respect them, the ban will still go forward because the app is Chinese. So there is nothing they can do effectively. It's discriminatory. So it's quite a different situation, I would say, and that's what people in China generally point out, is that it's unfair and discriminatory towards Chinese companies in a way that China doesn't act. They have some rules, you can criticize them, but they're the same for everyone. Like Chinese social media platforms also have to respect them.
Yeah, it's an interesting point because we've actually done reporting before on how TikTok, desperate to stay in the United States because of how profitable it is for them, and they're at the end of the day, they're really just a for-profit company wanting to make money. They're not really an arm of trying to corrupt the American youth for this Chinese Communist Party. But they offered every one of those concessions, as you said. In fact, they hired huge numbers of former CIA and FBI and NSA officials away from Facebook, away from Google to do their content moderation. We once had a video critical of US and NATO policy in Ukraine banned by TikTok, showing that they were censoring to accommodate the US government in a way that even other platforms weren't. That was the only platform where we had that video removed. And I think you're right that at the end of the day, it's really just about, we don't care if you abide by our rules. We don't even care if you censor the way we want. We just don't want anything to do with China here. One of the things, though, that has happened is you mentioned this migration of all these TikTok creators afraid that TikTok is going to get shut down and trying to kind of build a new home for themselves on social media, purposely using this Chinese app, RedNote. You referenced the Chinese name. I'll leave that to you so I don't butcher it. But one of the things that I've read, that I've seen reports suggesting, is that the Chinese government is now starting to worry because there's a lot of interaction between young American content creators on TikTok and young Chinese creators on TikTok, and that this could end up circumventing some of these censorship rules by having American creators disseminate a bunch of ideas and views and experiences and thoughts that the Chinese government wants its citizens to be shielded from. Is that a valid concern?
I'm not sure. I don't know. I think the Chinese government is probably worried. I think that's correct, because it is, quite something. It's the first time that there is a large-scale direct social interaction between Western and Chinese users on social media, and so I think that they're wondering what that will lead to. I think it's more of a wait and see approach to see if there aren't some unintended consequences or bad consequences for China arising out of that. So I don't think that there will be immediate move. I think what can be more expected is a wait and see, patience, and then Xiaohongshu, RedNote, bit by bit adapting to what's to this new status quo. And also it's important to note that it's also not, from a user standpoint, it's also a bit awkward, because obviously most Americans don't speak Chinese. Most of those new users don't. Many Chinese don't speak English. And so even just if you go to Xiaohongshu today, it's a bit weird. You have like half the posts in Chinese, half the posts in English. And so from a user standpoint, it's a bit of a weird experience. So I think it's fair to assume that there will be more and more separation between those languages. So if you're American, if you only speak English, then you're going to see only English posts, and vice versa. So I think naturally, just even from a user experience standpoint, it's fair to expect more and more separation between both user groups, simply because they speak different language, and they also have different cultures and interests, and so on and so forth. But I think that probably China is also going to conclude that it's obviously very much a win for them to have yet another social media platform that's very popular amongst Americans. So it would be shooting themselves in the foot if they did some policy to antagonize that new user base.
It would be the funniest thing ever, really, if the U.S. government, both parties, ends up driving Americans from a platform that I guess you could say is associated with the Chinese into an actual Chinese social media platform that is built for the Chinese people. I saw a lot of videos over the last week, though, circulating that were very interesting, where, having grown up in the United States, I know this very well, that when there's a country that the United States government wants to demonize, all anyone knows in the United States is this caricature of that country, and therefore of its people. And it was always amazing during the Cold War. There was this pro-peace music where they would say things like Russians love their children too, and it was considered profound, as though that had never been thought of that way before. Because that is a really important way that the American government propagandizes citizens to believe that these people in these other countries are just basically not really human. And so when you see interaction between Chinese young people and American young people, and the Americans are saying, "Oh my God, I can't believe how culturally connected they are, how happy they seem, the stuff they're saying about their lives is so at odds with the things that we were told to believe about them," it does seem like a major benefit, maybe not for the Chinese government or for the American government, but just for the world. Do you see that as promising that way?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I mean, that is actually the very reason why I started being vocal on those issues is because I was simply outraged at exactly that. People seeing, China and the Chinese people as, so dehumanized in a way. And so anything that improves cultural understanding between both countries is an enormous plus for the world. At the end of the day, I'm absolutely convinced of this. The biggest reason for tensions and hatred and wars is a lack of understanding. So anything that promotes understanding is absolutely amazing, I think.
In a world where our digital lives are under constant threat, did I not just say that? I was just talking about that. It's not enough to just protect your crypto. You need a comprehensive security solution that covers all your digital assets. That's where Ledger comes in. Ledger has been a pioneer in digital security for 10 years. Trusted by 7 million users and securing 20% of the world's digital assets. Their latest devices, Ledger Stacks and Ledger Flex, feature the world's first secure touchscreens, making managing your crypto and logins incredibly easy. But Ledger goes beyond hardware wallets. With the Ledger Security Key app, you can say goodbye to weak passwords and protect your online accounts with robust security keys. Ledger's comprehensive suite of products and services gives you complete control over your digital identity and assets. Experience the future of digital security, the future, not the past, not even the present, the future of it you can experience and take control of your entire digital life, not part of it, your entire digital life. Buy your Ledger device now at shop.ledger.com/Greenwald. Thanks for watching this clip from System Update, our live show that airs every Monday through Friday at 7 p.m. Eastern exclusively on Rumble. You can catch the full nightly shows live or view the backlog of episodes for free on our Rumble page. You can also find full episodes the morning after they air across all major podcasting platforms, including Spotify and Apple. All the information you need is linked below. We hope to see you there.